Hey guys, Fix It John here. What we're going to do today is we're going to install some weed eater line. We're going to restring this weed eater. It's a Stihl FS100RX, and what it needs is like 33 feet of weed eater line. So let's get to work and we'll see how to do that real quick here. Alright guys, what I like to do before I start ripping string out of here so I don't have it all over is I'll take me a tape measure and just measure about a foot and mark it on both sides here so I know how much to string out. And this particular model, it holds 33 feet. So we'll mark that real good. Don't mark your bench if you get in trouble. Alright guys, the first thing we need to do is I like to take this head off before and all you need is a screwdriver to push this little tab in. See how it released there? Come to the other side, push this tab in, and just pull the bumper head off. There's usually some dirt and grit and I like to knock that out. Okay, let's take a close-up look of the head here so you guys know what you're dealing with. You don't string it in here, you'll string it right here on this. Alright guys, what I do is I take my line here and my two marks here I made, and I just count out 33 feet so I know how much line I've pulled out of the package. 1, 2, 3, 31, 32, 33. And after 33 feet, I cut it right here. So, and I don't think I read it anywhere that it took 33 feet. I think I've just done it so many times that I knew. So now I'll take the two ends and I'll put them together and hold them right there. And then I'll pull the line through till I get to the end. So I know I have equal amounts of line. Pull it to the very end. Nothing scientific about me here, but it may help someone. Go to the end. We have equal amounts on both sides, and I'll cut it right there. Bam. Then all we do is take this right here, and there's an arrow. If you can see the arrow right there, let me zoom in for you. There, see the arrow? And that's the way you'll want to reinstall your line, in the direction of that arrow. You can see the old line right here, and it goes through these holes right here. And it goes in those holes right there. Put 4 different holes in it. Now you don't use all 4 holes, you only use 2 of the 4. And what I'll do is I'll stick the line in there as far as it'll go. And I'll stick it in this hole right here. Now, you would think that the line would go this way because that's the way it's headed, but no, if you look at the arrow again, it's got to come back this way. And I like to crimp the line so it sits flatter. Now a lot of these are very similar. Try to put a little bend in the line, and you can even pull it out. See how it's bent? A lot of times I'll take a pair of pliers. You don't have to go through this extra step, but just something I like to do. Take that right there. Give it a nice crimp. That way when you get low, it doesn't pull out as quickly. It's held in the mower head by the crimp. This one here, we'll crimp it. Nice crimp. Okay, now we'll reinstall it here. Try to keep my hands out of the way. And that gives a better hold. That's just what I like to do. And boom. So then you keep the line together all the way around. I like to start on the side and go over it once. And the tighter you can get it in there, the longer it's going to last. Keep a nice grasp on it, otherwise you drop it and the string will just fly all over the place. You want to wrap it evenly so you can get as much line on there as possible. Okay, you know you're full when you're getting to the edge of this line here. See, you can still see it and it'll still fit in the head. That's when you know you're getting full. If it's all the way out here, it's going to come off. And then once you get to the end of your line, there's little holes here that you pull your closest line at the top, you pull it through that, and that'll hold it for you. Now this one here will come on around the bottom one, and you pull that through. Now that'll hold it for you until you can load it into the mower head. Alright, and it's really not that big a job. So what we want to do now is take the bumper head, and put it in the mower head here. Oh, well, one more thing. If you have an issue with line sticking together, getting hot and melting together, I had a weed eater that would stick together and melt together. What I did was, and it's not a cure-all, but it helps, take some oil, and that keeps this line lubricated, because if it gets hot, it can melt in here. And just take you some lubricant and just squirt it in there. Now centrifugal force is going to push most of that out to the edge, but some of it will work its way in there and stay in there and keep it lubricated. I found this to work for me on a particular weed eater that was it would just get hot down there and melt the line together, and this seemed to lubricate it. This is a pretty good weed eater. I don't really have that issue with this one, but this is just a how-to if you have that issue. We'll install the weed eater head, the bumper, onto the mower head. Now you want to hold this in place, and you pull that out and put it in here. Hold that. Try not to do the same thing to this one. That came out. Okay, now we got that in there. And I'm holding this line together so it doesn't come out. There we go. And we take the top of this mower head and place it down in here. where these snaps snap back in. See those snaps? Place it in here. And just hit it, a little snap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if it will work. So I'll push this down on the mower head and then pull the line. There, it's working. So we know that's working, and we'll want to trim the line here. Right here by the guard. So, and when you release line from your weed eater, this deflector blade, when the line comes around, it's designed to cut it to a certain length, and that way it doesn't get out too far and bog the weed eater down and just too much line it can't handle. So we'll go ahead and trim that to length. One more thing, you'll want to check the lubricant in the gearbox here. I'll use this 1/2-inch ratchet, this 1/2-inch socket, and you could just unscrew this, or you can use a Torx T27 if it's not too tight. If you can see on the end here, I twisted this. If you can see the end here, I twisted this trying to get it off. So at one point. So, you can use a 1/2-inch, unscrew this, and if you don't see any lubricant, according to the manual, if you don't see any lubricant in the gearbox, squirt you a little bit in there, and I see lubricant in there, so I think we're good on grease, but let me show you how to, what I like to do is when I put grease in here, I like to turn the mower head. And if you do use grease, all you need is white lithium grease is what they'll sell you at the dealership there. So take your grease, stick in there and squeeze it. And what I like to do is to make sure it's going into the gearbox, is turn that head. And it doesn't hurt to put some fresh grease in there. The manual calls for you to check it every 25 hours. I pretty much do this annually. I want to replace our plug. And you can use the Torx T27 it is. And just put it on there and snug it up. So remember, this is Fix It John. Hope this video helped you, and if it did, like and subscribe, and give me a thumbs up.